Destiny 2, The Final Shape, launch trailer. Oddly enough, I got an RE6 vibe there. Like Jake Mueller in the Apple. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The witness nears the final shape.
It might have been a nightmare.
It's reshaping reality into a perfect stillness. I'm done burying my friends.
It's the end of everything. Might as well try to stop it.
One last step. Together.
That's, what's his face?
Into the end.
Forget his name offhand. Pete David.
This place.
It's hard to describe. An infection. Festering. You said it spoke to you.
The witness shows us what it thinks we want. It's a lie.
Light bearer. Let us lift the weight of suffering.
That is the veil in the background.
Join us.
Zavala, please, don't do this.
Zavala boss fight, let's go.
Got everything.
More Scorn. That's a Hydra.
Nobody
Okay.
makes my fate but me.
Guardians make their own fate. Vault of Glass. Let's go. Okay. I'm already locked in. Forever. So, now that we've seen Become Legend, man, I'm missing my Week 4 Pantheon right now. Like, I can't do LFG anymore. So, now that we've seen the trailer in its entirety, let's go back through and let's kind of take a look at a couple things because I want to kind of break this down a little bit more. I think that did its good job. I think this did a much better job than some of the Sony showcases and stuff to sell a product. And on some of the past reactions I've done past reactions to Destiny 2 trailers, how I said that this doesn't quite sell me the product. This is more along the lines of selling you a product. So, go back through. We're going to kind of mute the audio a little bit. I like the opening establishing shot of, this is the, what is it? It's next to Helm, right? It's the Elixir Corridor, right? This is the Elixir Corridor, the Last City. You know, that kind of thing. And like immediately that we get into this paracausality, we get into, the apple bisecting itself. This is actually really cool because this does harken back to what stasis is, right? What is stasis? Yes, it's a power of the darkness, but is it not ice, right? Is it not stillness? And that was actually one of the cool, like, story things that I had to have somebody kind of explain to me, is that we have the light powers, right? We have solar, we have arc, and we have void, right? And these are generally, you can change things. You can ignite things, you can spawn abyssal rifts and devour things. These are more action. When you go into the darkness subclass, when the witness was gifting a stasis, that is the power of what it says, stasis, of stillness, to grind everything to a screeching halt and preserve it, which actually does align with the witness and their end goal, right? They, as a conglomerate, combine themselves into one entity, which I myself was very, I didn't really like that personally. I liked it better when he was just this big F-off paracausal entity, but being a entire race, being coalesced into a single being, I can understand where they're going with that. So, but that is their end goal, right? The final shape, a perfect and still world. So when you look at it from that perspective, stasis makes a lot more sense. And I like that Strand, it kind of fuses light and dark there. It goes over, because we go into what is the veil, right, and Lightfall, and we go into how, light is what the material, where darkness is kind of the immaterial, and it combines the two, and that's actually why we struggle through a lot of it. I really had some issues with Lightfall on launch, a lot of which have been resolved as of now. One, talking to the community, talking to people in my Discord server, right, and just raiding with people and discussing it, right, and I have a new appreciation for some of those things, but There are still notes. I think that Rohan and Nimbus got written out way too early. We had the whole post-story quest, right, with, going to the Black Garden, but it doesn't feel like we do anything. But in all fairness, right, when is the last time, outside of doing vendor-related activities, when's the last time you've gone to the Throne World and talked to Finch, right? When is the last time you've talked to, Varix on Europa? So that's kind of the thing, is they separate it per planet, et cetera, right? So, Rohan, who's that exactly? I do like the opening with Marasov.
The witness nears the final shape.
It's
I actually-
shaping reality into a perfect.
So that's the Traveler, okay, so this is Earth, it looks like.
Done burying my friends.
So what this looks like, and this is just a shot in the dark, right? This is going to be, we all get over there because obviously Crow got in there. We had the end of the season thing finally, and going into this, it looks like there's going to be the witness nearing the final shape. We're going to go in there, and we get to have this meeting, whether it's going to be cinematic as this or not, or whether it's just going to be Cade having a transparent menu over it, where his dialogue, and then it swaps in with the menu, and then you run into that weird bug that Bungie has, where you keep trying to exit or click on the quest reward, but it loops you, right? I've had that one a few times this past couple seasons. It's really weird. It was Season of the Wish entirely. So hopefully that gets addressed because it breaks the flow a little bit. But being able to set up base camp, and it's really cool to kind of see Crow and Cade getting along. It really is. And I know people are criticizing, well, Cade just accepted him way too quickly. I actually like that about Cade. He's just like, cool, you're not a scumbag anymore. You legit? Cool, yeah, you're legit, right? And I think that does fit Cade's nature a lot. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they work him into the campaign.
The end of
I hope that it's still probably going to be 8 missions, but I hope there's more to do.
One last step together into the end.
So wait, these are the subclasses, right? So we go into the Traveler.
To the end.
This looks like... No, I thought this was going to be like Ikora. This was going to be the Vanguards. No, this is really interesting, though. This almost looks like Tangled Shore a little bit. Kind of, like you see on the top right here, above the focal point in the center, you kind of see some fallen nooks in the architecture, right? Last City, and then, yeah, we have the Traveler.
It's hard to describe. An infection, festering.
Showcasing their deaths, okay.
You said it spoke to you.
And this is actually cool, because these are the statues inside the pyramid ships, right? Like, these are... when you go inside the pyramids, like this is what was giving us certain strand things. This is what during the whole Keitel, hey, there's some rogue cabal doing some stuff going into the pyramid, right? On Europa. These are throughout the pyramid ships.
The witness shows us what it thinks we want. It's a lie.
Lightbearer, let us lift the weight of suffering. Join us.
And this shows Zavala is standing alone, but obviously he could fall. I mean, a lot of powerful imagery, but I wonder if it's going to stick the landing. So this is actually something I wanted to bring up, because this is obviously Scorn, and this actually might showcase more of the enemy types. I was talking about this recently, a couple days ago, actually, when I was running some Onslaught and stuff, or was this during... No, it wasn't during my raid roulette run. I ran like every raid but Garden of Salvation in like 8 hours. It was great. Really fun time. But no, so this showcase is more like Scorn abominations, right? And that actually brings up an important point where we have, what is it? It's not the Necromancer. What's his name? It's the Baron, right? Because we had all of the big bosses around Uldren Sov back in Forsaken, right? But one of them... the one that dealt with actually like raising the Scorn is still out there and is still a big player. I don't know if it's Fikril or not, but he is still a big player. I don't know if this will address it, honestly. This could honestly be a kind of nightmare hallucination, right? Big focus on nightmares and the immaterial becoming material in the past couple expansions, right? Where we have Nezarak, right? Literal final god of pain, born of nightmares, right? And actual Cognito has it as well. So... I don't know if this is necessarily going to be Fikril's doing. This could also be part of this nightmare sequence, or this could showcase in the other event that we have different enemy types. It's not just going to be the new enemy type. We could have maybe a lost sector or a specific section of the map It has some Scorn enemies. Maybe we go to another section of the map and it has Shadow Legion, right? And we kind of see this in certain expansions, right? Where you go to one part of the map, it's got Scorn. You go to another part of the map, it's got Hive Knights, right? Or Savathun Knights, right? Even in the Savathun's Throne World, right? So, I mean, that's interesting to consider, and I wonder where they're going to bring this. Cool Golden Gun Showcase. Vex Hydra as well, yeah.
Nobody makes my fate but me.
I like that line because to me that harkens back to Vault of Glass, right? Where once Atheon encounter, right, you kill the Harpies on each side until there's one remaining. That way you stop them from spawning in. 3 of your 6 fire team gets pulled into the past or future, and your team that's in there has to open up the specific gate. Generally, teams will just open up both gates in LFG just to make sure that they're being thorough and they're not miscommunicating. And you have one person reading, right? The calls vary. You can go with 1, 2, 3 being the front, 4, 5, 6 being the back, like on your keyboard, like numpad, right? Or they reverse it, where 1, 2, 3 is the top, 4, 5, 6 is the bottom. I've seen, middle right, top right, bottom right, middle right, or middle, comma, right? Depends on the group that you're doing the calls, right? But if you read all 3 sets of 3 oracles correctly, once they're pulled into Venus or Mars, or Target or Walmart, as people will call it, Wendy's or McDonald's, oh man, I could call it all day. And as soon as you hit that 9th oracle, you get a buff called Guardians Make Their Own Fate. So I actually really like this, and I don't know if that's going to harken back to Vault of Glass specifically, but to me, this harkens back to it. I wonder if we're gonna have like other guardians in our game. So like how we had the Keitel mission at the end, right? We had the Keitel. This might also be the raid potentially, because I hear that the raid is going to be integrated into the story. Like you're gonna have day 1 raid, but then there will be a single player instance after that in which you can do the story. I'm very curious how they're gonna handle that. But like this is either going to be the raid, or this could be something like we just get random bot guardians, like how when you go into Onslaught you have those robots that help clear out the area with you, or you went into the Keitel mission at the end of Lightfall, and you have a bunch of you have Keitel and her Cabal, right? Her Legionnaires just fighting around her and having that kind of open scale conflict in the courtyard. I think that could be what this is too. I'm very curious what way they're going to go with it. There's a lot going on. That looks like Prismatic, and it could show that all the Vanguard is just using Prismatic. I personally think that there's going to be some contention with Prismatic, especially in regards to Warlocks. I don't think it's necessarily genuine of me to say that Well will not have a place. Well's focus has shifted from being I'm just going to drop this and we're going to live forever. Because, I mean, I came for Season of Arrival as well. Look, you didn't die in that and get it back to back. So there is that. And I think that just goes into, like, Well will have a place. Its focus shifted to that more primary drop it, burst, heal, and kind of sustain. But I don't think that it's necessarily correct to say that Well will be nerfed or Well will not be played at all. I do take contention if people do complain about Well. Like, I look at Well, right? And I don't necessarily complain about it. I look at it and I go, okay, I understand why it's getting nerfed in aspects. I understand you're wanting to focus on team play. You're even wanting to give Warlocks a chance to play other things as well. And I had someone actually say, well, Titans had to deal with it in D1. Yes, you Warlocks have had to deal with this longer, but that's the problem inherently, is Titans should never have had to deal with being forced into one super. Before we get into an entire Well rant, I think Prismatic's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people have their builds already set out right. And I personally am interested to try Starfire Protocol with the Prismatic Solar Super for Warlocks. It's going to be very interesting as an expansion. I will say, however, Bungie has about 3 weeks to tell me the game's not dead. If day 1 this launches and it's buggy, it's got issues, it's a mess. Every game has bugs. I'm not saying it doesn't, right? But if I keep crashing, there's a memory leak, right? Where I actually encountered this several times within the past week alone, where there's a memory leak at the end of Lightfall, where we're at in where Pantheon's live, where if you are in the game too long, eventually it would just freeze, and it's frustrating, and they need to fix that. I'm not blaming the devs. I'm blaming really upper management and really up to investors, shareholders, etc., who are probably making decisions on a whim. Plus, we can now blame Sony because Sony now owns them. A lot of conversations in one. I'm looking forward to it. I need to see where this goes, and I'm very curious what you're going to be running coming Final Shape. So thank you everyone for watching. I definitely do appreciate it. Let me know in your comments down below what your thoughts are. Let me know if you saw my funny D2 short on the other channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.